Part 1. The Calm Before the Inferno. In the summer of 1187, the Holy Land waited for war. For nearly 90 years the cross had ruled Jerusalem, but the kingdom born of faith was dying from pride. Its lords quarreled over gold and glory, while the sands beyond their walls stirred with a coming storm. A storm named Saladin Yusuf ibn Ayyub. To his people, he was Saladin, the righteousness of faith. To the Crusaders, Saladin, the warrior who united Egypt and Syria beneath one banner. He prayed more than he spoke, and when he spoke, men listened. Across the Dead Sea, one man mocked that purpose. Raynald of Chatillon, lord of Carac, a thief wrapped in the cloak of a crusader. He raided caravans, enslaved pilgrims, and laughed at every truce. When he seized a Meccan caravan that carried Saladin's own kin, the Sultan swore an oath. "By God, I shall kill Raynald with my own hands." Peace shattered. Armies gathered. The desert itself seemed to tremble. In Jerusalem, panic spread. The King Guy of Lusignan was weak. His nobles despised him. At council, the wise Raymond of Tripoli pleaded, "Do not meet Saladin in the open. The desert will destroy us first." Guy rose and spoke the words that doomed a kingdom: "We march." In early July 1187, 20,000 crusaders rode from Sepphoria toward Tiberias, bearing their holiest relic, the true cross. Priests led the way, chanting under a merciless sun. He had burned the grass, poisoned the wells, and sealed every path to water. Day after day, the knights stumbled through dust and heat. Men dropped their shields to crawl toward mirages. Horses fell and did not rise. Each mile bled hope from their hearts. By the third day, they reached two black hills rising from the plain, the horns of Hattin. There they stopped, thirsty, broken, and surrounded. Saladin's army encircled them, banners shimmering like fire. The Sultan looked upon the enemy and whispered, "At dawn, we strike." Night fell over Hattin. The Crusaders clutched their swords and prayed for deliverance. They did not know that, when the sun rose again, the cross of Jerusalem would fall, and the age of Crusader kings would burn beneath the desert sky. Part 2. The March of Doom. The Crusaders had left Sepphoria at dawn, chasing the illusion of victory. Their banners gleamed, the true cross glowed in the sun, but the desert was waiting. The road to Tiberias stretched before them, lifeless and merciless. By noon, the heat became a weapon. Knights poured sweat inside their armor. Soldiers gasped for water. Leather cracked, lips bled, and even the mules collapsed beneath the weight of faith and steel. The priests carried the true cross high. They sang, "Deus vult," God wills it. But their voices were thin. Faith could not cool the air, nor fill their empty flasks. Each mile they marched, the sun grew heavier on their backs. Saladin's archers began to appear on the ridges, distant shapes in the haze. They loosed arrows, then vanished into the dunes, drawing the knights further from the wells. Each attack was not meant to kill, but to exhaust. Every moment of thirst was part of his plan. That night, the Crusaders made camp near a place called Mascana. The wind carried the smell of smoke. Saladin's men were burning the fields around them. When the knights looked out, the horizon glowed red, ringed with enemy fires. They were surrounded, though few would admit it. King Guy's captains begged him to turn back. Raymond of Tripoli warned again, "If we stay, we die. The path behind us is our only hope." But the Templar Grand Master hissed, "Retreat? Never! The Lord will deliver us victory." Saladin's cavalry closed in, circling, cutting them off from water. The sky was a furnace. Every breath tasted of dust and death. By midday, the Crusaders reached the dry slopes of the Horns of Hattin, two hills rising like black crowns from the desert floor. They saw Lake Tiberias glittering far below, so close, yet unreachable. Between them and salvation waited Saladin's entire army. The Crusaders formed their final camp at the foot of those hills. They were too weak to fight, too proud to surrender. Across the plain, Saladin's banners waved in silence. His men prepared arrows, torches, and patience. The Crusaders prayed for rain. But dawn would bring only smoke, fire, and judgment. Part 3. The Fire and the Cross. July 4th, 1187. The sun rose blood-red over the Horns of Hattin, as if the earth itself knew what was about to come. All night, the Crusaders had been tormented. Saladin's men surrounded the hills, shouting verses from the Quran, beating drums, and lighting fires that choked the air with smoke. The heat of day never left. The wind carried ash and thirst. The Christians had no water, not a drop. Their horses lay dead. At sunrise, Saladin gave the order. His archers advanced, forming a crescent around the Crusader camp. Thousands of arrows rained down, blackening the sky. The Crusaders tried to form ranks, but their lines were broken, their strength shattered by exhaustion. The Muslims advanced again, waves of horsemen crashing like the tide. Saladin himself rode calmly behind his archers, watching the flames rise from dry grass. He ordered his men to set the fields ablaze, and soon smoke swallowed the hill. Fire, thirst, and arrows. That was his strategy. The Crusaders began to suffocate. Men stumbled into each other, blinded by smoke, their banners burning in their hands. Desperate, the Knights of the Templars and Hospitallers charged downhill. Their armor gleamed for a moment, then vanished into the storm of arrows. Few returned. Raymond of Tripoli and a handful of knights broke through Saladin's flank and escaped toward Tyre. But the rest, the entire army of Jerusalem, was trapped. By noon, the hill was covered with the dead. The true cross was captured. The banner of the Kingdom of Jerusalem fell. King Guy and the nobles were taken alive, exhausted, broken, their faith tested beyond endurance. Saladin's soldiers shouted, "Allahu Akbar," as the smoke cleared. When Saladin walked among the captives, he did not gloat. He offered King Guy a drink of water, a gesture of mercy. But when the king passed the cup to Raynald of Chatillon, Saladin's smile faded. Then, with one stroke of his sword, Raynald was no more. Justice, as Saladin saw it, was done. The rest of the prisoners watched in silence. The era of Crusader glory had ended at Hattin, and a new chapter, the rise of Saladin, had begun.